lesson for today. Just a quick overview of things we're going to be going over on this lesson. We're going to review the k sound using the following spellings with the letters C, K, the letter team CK, and CC. We're also going to be adding ED and ING to the end of root words, doubling the final consonant when necessary. We'll also practice placing periods and question marks at the end of written sentences. Are you ready? This is a spelling tree for the k sound. The spelling tree is going to help you keep track and organize of different spellings for the k sound. These letters include CK, C, K, and CC. We're going to get organized together. Let's review our word bank. We have the words classroom, backpack, kids, and hiccup. Which word fits best on the CK branch? Ding! If you chose backpack, you're correct. Which word fits best on the C branch? Ding! If you picked classroom, you're correct. Which word fits best on the K branch? Ding! If you picked kids, you're correct. Which word fits best on the CC branch? Ding! If you picked hiccup, you're correct. Let's practice a few more. These words are carpet, kicked, king, and cornflakes. Which one of these words fits best on the CK branch? Ding! If you picked kick, you're correct. Which word fits best on the C branch? Ding! If you selected carpet, you're correct. Which word fits best on the K branch? Ding! If you picked king, you're correct. Uh-oh, an odd duck just popped up. Which word do you think fits best there? If you picked cornflakes, you're correct because it has two of the k sounds and it doesn't really fit anywhere. The next thing we're going to review are root words. Do you remember this diagram from school? In this diagram, the root words go by the bottom of the flower, the roots that are in the ground. The first ending we practiced was ED. And the last ending we practiced was ING, which is at the top of the flower. Let's go over a couple words before we get started on our worksheet. The first root word is dip. How do I change the word dip to dipped? Very good. D-I-P-P-E-D, dipped. When the word ends in P, S, or M, we have to add another consonant when we're adding a suffix ending. So how do I change the word dipped to dipping? Great job. D-I-P-P-I-N-G. Let's practice one more. The word is shout. Say the word shout with me. Shout. How do we change the word shout to shouted? Great job. S-H-O-U-T-E-D, shouted. How do I change shouted to shouting? Great job. S-H-O-U-T-I-N-G, shouting. Now, if your parents aren't able to print this worksheet out for you, that's okay. Just take out a piece of paper And what I want you to do is write down these words as we go, okay? Because we're going to add different endings to each one. Are you ready? I'm going to walk you through the first few words, and then you can continue the rest on your own. I might read them off a little bit faster to you, but that's okay. You can pause the video, and you can work with the video as you write. Don't get too overwhelmed. The first word that we're going to do together is sip. What is different about the word sip? That's right. Sip ends in P. So we need to add another consonant when writing sipped. Now write the word sipping. Great job. The next word is ram. Is that silly thing again? Yep, you got it. It ends in an M. So we need to have two consonants when adding a suffix ending. Let's change ram to rammed. Great job. And now we'll change ram to ramming. For the remainder of the words, I will have them pop up in front of you. Please pause the video if you need time to write. Bust to busted, busting. Pound to pounded, to pounding. Look to looked, to looking. Remember to pause the video if you need to keep writing. Duck to ducked, to ducking. Dash to dashed, to dashing. Pop to popped, to popping. Mash to mashed, to mashing. Trip to tripped, to tripping. And lick to licked, to licking. Now we're going to practice applying appropriate punctuation marks on the endings of a few statements and questions. Let's practice a few together first. Pat clapped her hands. Is that a question or a statement? If it's a question, touch your head. If it's a statement, touch your nose. If you're touching your nose, you're correct. If it's a statement, what kind of punctuation mark do we put? That's right, a period. Can Kate hug her pal? Is that a question or a statement? If it's a statement, touch your nose. If it's a question, touch your head. You're right. It's a question. We're going to put a question mark there. Will Jill pick the plums? If that's a statement, touch your nose. If it's a question, touch your head. You're right. It's a question. Last one. Vern cracked the eggs. If it's a statement, touch your nose. If it's a question, touch your head. If you're touching your nose, you're correct. It's a statement. If you don't have this paper printed out, have your parent write down the sentences for you. Then you can add the correct punctuation mark at the end. Number 1, the jogger ran up the hill. Is that a statement or a question? You're right. It's a statement. late did he get home? Is that a statement or a question? You're right. It's a question. Write a question mark there. My sister hugged me for a long time. Is that a statement or a question? You're right. It's a statement. Write your period. Number 4. Where are my slippers? Is that a statement or a question? You're right. It's a question. Draw a question mark. When did you take a hike in the forest? Is that a statement or a question? You're right. It's a question. Put your question mark. You guys are doing a great job. Now let's take a look at some sentences. What you need to do to these sentences are edit them before you write them. We need to fix what's wrong with these sentences. If you do not have this paper, please just look at the video and you can use the corrections that we do together and write them on a separate piece of paper. Number 1, Jim likes to splash in the pool in the summer. What is wrong with the beginning of the sentence? You're right. Jim is a name and his first letter in his name is not capital. We need to change the lowercase j to an uppercase J. What else is missing? You're right, a period to close our sentence. Now that we've edited our sentence, let's write it correctly on the line below. Remember, when we're writing, you need to start writing on the beginning of the line. You need to use your finger spaces and no floating letters. Number 2, which book do you like best? What is wrong with the beginning of the sentence? You're right. The W is lowercase, and every beginning of the sentence, the letter needs to be capital. What else is missing from the sentence? That's right, a question mark, because they're asking you a question. Let's make our edits. Let's change the lowercase w to an uppercase W and add our question mark. Now, make sure when you're starting to write on your line, you begin on the edge of your line and use your finger spaces. Don't have any floating letters. Number 3, would you like 1 scoop or 2 scoops? What is wrong with this sentence? You're right. The W is lowercase and is supposed to be capital because it's the beginning of our sentence. What else is wrong with this sentence? That's right, it's missing a question mark. Let's edit together. I changed my lowercase w to an uppercase W, and I also added my question mark. Copy the sentence and make sure you use your finger spaces and don't have any floating letters. This completes today's lesson. Remember, if you cannot print these lessons out, please write them on a separate sheet of paper and make sure you submit the work to your teacher. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you again tomorrow.